Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. Coming into this Monday with some momentum. Great weekend. So I started off conference championship college football. I went 6-4 against the spread, which obviously isn't electric, but I'll take it considering how the second half of this college football season has gone. I will take a winning weekend. And then NFL Sunday. Holy shit. Great day. I went 10-3, but it wasn't just the fact that I went 10-3. All three losses were, they were all coin flips. I could have won all three. Patriots plus 5.5. Final score was 6-0. So it's not like my handicap was far off on that one being a low scoring game in the weather. Broncos plus 3. They had the ball first and goal on the 7 for the win. And then Titans plus 1. They missed an extra point. So I went 10-3, and all three of my losses were coin flip losses. So excellent Sunday. Let's keep that rolling. Monday Night Football, we got Cincinnati on the road in Jacksonville. And I'm actually going to run through the two NBA games at the end. We got the in-season tournament. Didn't have time to make a full video just for NBA, so I'm just going to throw them at the end of this one. Jacksonville is now laying 10 points at home, which has been bet up from 8.5. Total sitting at an even 40, which has been bet up from 38. Let's go.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
Public is all over Jacksonville in this one, as you would imagine. The number got bet up to 9, then 9.5. Now we're all the way up at 10. And if you look at the data, it looks like there now is some sharp action starting to come in on Cincinnati at the 10. Let's start with injury reports. And both these teams are looking pretty solid. Cincinnati obviously missing Joe Burrow. Jake Browning's going to get the start again at quarterback. But other than that, Bengals offense good to go. On the defensive side for Cincinnati, good news, Sam Hubbard's back on that defensive line. He actually came back last week, though, against Pittsburgh, so he's been back. Bad news, Cam Taylor-Britt is going to miss a second straight game at corner, so that's a big loss for him. Jacksonville offensively, completely healthy with the exception of Travis Etienne. He's listed as questionable, but he hasn't missed a practice all week, so I'm assuming he's going to play. Jags are also looking good on the defensive side of the ball. It even looks like they're going to get Tyson Campbell back at corner. He's been out for the last 2 games. He's listed as questionable, but he's been practicing, so I think he'll be out there. So with the exception of Joe Burrow, both these teams are in really good shape injury-wise. So let's match these two teams up on the field, and we'll start with the biggest concern for Cincinnati. The biggest concern for Cincinnati every single week, stopping the run, because that run defense is absolutely miserable. One of the worst in football. They're 31st in yards per carry allowed, 29th in DVOA. This is a problem. I thought Sam Hubbard coming back would help, but last week, Hubbard was back. Steelers came into Cincinnati, had no problem running the ball in this Bengals defense. In fact, Pittsburgh had 421 yards of offense in that game. I didn't even think Pittsburgh's offense could count to 421. But here's the thing. As bad as Cincinnati's run defense is, the Jags' run game might be just as bad. We keep waiting for this Jacksonville rushing attack to show up. It ain't happening. I know Travis Etienne hasn't been 100%. He's been banged up, but this is bad. 29th in yards per carry, 30th in adjusted line yards. And if anything, it's getting worse. In their last 3 games, they're averaging just 3.2 yards per carry as a team, 89 rushing yards per game. That's 26th and 32nd in the NFL. Dead last. Even the games they're winning. The run game hasn't been there in those either. They beat the Titans badly, 34-14. They averaged just 3.6 yards per carry in that game. So if there was ever a spot for Cincinnati's horrible run defense to show up and actually put together a good performance, it's this one. The problem is, even if you like the Bengals to come in here and hold the Jags rushing attack down, which I could see, I actually think that might happen. The Jags haven't been able to run the ball. The problem is, they've been awful against the pass too. Cincinnati defensively is all the way up at 19th in pass defense DVOA because they've seen a tough schedule, but they are dead last in yards per pass attempt allowed and dead last in PFF coverage grade. And keep in mind, they're missing Cam Taylor-Britt at corner, probably their second best guy in coverage against a Jags offense that's loaded with receiving weapons. The backbone of this Bengals defense is the pass rush, and even that hasn't been that great. Cincinnati on the season is 16th in sack rate and a 30.3% pressure rate, which is 9th highest in the NFL. But in the last 3 games, pressure rate's down to 23.4%. That's 27th in the NFL in that span. And they're on the road against a Jacksonville offensive line that's completely healthy and who's been excellent in pass protection. The Jags are 9th in adjusted sack rate allowed, 4th in pressure rate, and QB hurry rate allowed. And we know Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys where if he has time to throw, he's going to put up points. When he has more than 2.5 seconds in the pocket to throw this season, he's 3rd in big time throw percentage behind Tua and Jalen Hurts. So to reiterate, a declining Bengals pass rush with the worst rated secondary in coverage, missing a corner against a Jags team that's great in pass protection with a quarterback that murders teams if he has time, loaded with weapons. This is just a nightmare matchup for Cincinnati's defense. On the other side of the ball, though, I actually do like some angles for Cincinnati. It's kind of tough to predict what we'll see from that offense without Joe Burrow because we have such a small amount of data, but Jags do run a lot of zone coverage, and the Bengals have had some success throwing the ball against zone, but as we know, a majority of these numbers were Joe Burrow's numbers, so pretty much have to throw that data out. We really only have the Steelers game for Jake Browning, and his numbers were solid. 19 and 26, 227 yards, a touchdown and a pick, 96 passer rating. Now, he did have that Jamar Chase play where he threw it and the defensive lineman deflected it, and it somehow dropped into Jamar Chase's hands, and he ran for like 40 yards. His numbers don't look quite as good without that lucky-ass play, but still, I just went back last night and I watched a YouTube video, all of Jake Browning's pass attempts in that game. He made some plays. And Jacksonville defensively, starting to look a little bit fraudulent. On the season, their numbers are solid. I mean, just 23rd in yards per pass attempt allowed, but they're a top 10 pass defense according to advanced metrics, 8th in DVOA, 9th in PFF coverage. But if you isolate Jacksonville's defensive numbers against the pass to just the last 3 games, we're seeing a huge drop-off in production from the Jags pass defense. Completion percentage way up. Yards per pass attempt way up. Quarterbacks have 7 touchdowns to just 0 interceptions against the Jags in the last 3, compared to 11 and 11 in the first 8. Passer ratings way up, 79.86 in the first 8 games, 130.9 in the last 3. All of these numbers on the right side of this chart, they're all bottom 3 in the NFL. Now, let's be a little bit fair to Jacksonville here. They played CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy in that 3-game span, but you want to know what the 3rd game was? Will Levis at home in Jacksonville. Jake Browning is going to make some plays through the air tonight. I'm definitely betting Browning over 217.5 pass yards, or I'll use Browning's pass yards in a same game parlay or something like that. But we're going to need more than just Jake Browning making some throws to cover this number, because we know Jacksonville is going to score points in this game. So can we count on Joe Mixon and the Bengals run game getting anything going? And at first glance, the answer is no. Jacksonville's 9th in yards per carry allowed, 1st in run defense DVOA, 4th in adjusted line yards. Jags have been excellent this year in defending the run. But just like the pass defense, Jags' run defense has also taken a serious dip in production recently. Through the first 8, Jags were allowing just 79 rushing yards per game, 3.6 yards per carry. One of the best run defenses in the NFL through the first half of the season. But in the last 3, 109 rushing yards per game on 4.88 yards per carry. So the Jags defense as a whole, not looking good at all recently. I do have an underdog pick 'em in this one. It's a 3-pick, so it pays out 6 times. Jake Browning, higher in passing yards. Tyler Boyd, higher in receptions. Reason for that is Tyler Boyd gets a much higher target share against zone coverage. So I'm going with Tyler Boyd. Travis Etienne, higher in rushing yards. If you don't have an Underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted in this map. So if you're in one of these states highlighted in yellow, head over to Underdog Fantasy, the website, or download the app. Make sure you use the promo code BET, B-E-T. That'll get you a $100 deposit bonus match. So you deposit $100, they will give you a free $100 to play with. So as far as when I'm betting here, spoiler alert, you're going to hate it. I'm going with the over, and I know that's crazy. Monday Night Football, I believe the under is 12-1. I think it's, or maybe 11-2. No, I think it's 12-1. The under has been auto cash on Monday Night Football. I like the over in this one. The total was at 38. Public's all coming in on the under. Still moved up to 39, and now it's at 40. So I like that. Plus, I like the matchup for the over. And as far as the side, now that it's at a full 10, I'm going to take Cincinnati. Like I said, I think Browning's going to play well. Good luck to Cincinnati's defense making stops. It's going to make it tough, but give me Cincinnati plus 10 and the over at 40. Let's talk some NBA next real quick. We got the in-season tournament starting. Celtics on the road in Indiana. Pacers catching 5 at home. This number's actually moved to 5.5 in the last 30 minutes. It just moved. Total sitting all the way up at 242, typical Pacers basketball. So the public's all over Boston here, as you would expect. Number got bet up from 4.5 to 5. Now we're looking at 5.5. Wouldn't be surprised if he keeps moving either. Injury-wise, we got some question marks on the Pacers side. Jalen Smith is going to miss his 3rd straight game, leaving Miles Turner as basically the only active big on that Pacers roster. Celtics have a smaller roster themselves, though, so I'm not too worried about that. Tyrese Halliburton and Obi Toppin both listed as questionable. I think Toppin's going to play, but Halliburton missed their last game against the Miami Heat as well. So I would imagine he's a true game time decision. On the Boston side, they're completely good to go with the exception of Kristaps Porzingis. He's going to miss his 4th straight game, and I think they're going to reevaluate him next week. So let's match these two teams up on the court. Tough to place a bet without knowing if Halliburton's going to be out there because he's so important to that Pacers team offensively. But matchup-wise, the Celtics are an absolute nightmare for Indiana. Pacers opponents are shooting 41.4% from above the break threes on the season. That's dead last, 30th, dead last in the NBA. Want to know who takes more above the break threes than any other team in the league? Yes, the Boston Celtics. 39% of the Celtics shot attempts have been above the break threes this year. Celtics should score 135 points plus in this game as long as their shots are falling. Couple overs you might want to look at: Derek White and Sam Hauser. Both of those guys take a large percentage of their shots from above the break threes, so this should be a favorable matchup for them. In transition, we're looking at the same story here. Boston's been solid in transition. They're not elite, but they're 13th in efficiency, 7th in frequency. Pacers defense in transition, allowing 1.21 points per possession. That's 29th in the NBA. I know this Pacers team is sneaky at times, and I know fading Boston on the road has been profitable. Celtics are just 2-6-2 against the spread on the road this year, but they're 2nd in overall efficiency on the road. Efficiency-wise, they're the 2nd best road team in the NBA. They're 6-4 straight up in their road games. The problem is they just keep getting mispriced. That's why they're not covering. But I don't think that's the case here. The players have been taking this in-season tournament very seriously. We've seen some great games, and the better team is going to show up and show us why they're the better team. I know it's super square, but I'm on Boston. I'm siding with the public in this one, and I'm going to grab it now before the number gets any higher. Give me Boston minus 5.5. Second game, we got Pelicans on the road in Sacramento. Kings are laying 4, but that number's dropped to 3.5 since I started recording. It just dropped. Total sitting at 237.5. So New Orleans is looking like a pretty public dog tonight. Data is showing all the action coming in on the Pelicans. This number got bet down from 4.5 to 4. Now we're down to 3.5 on most sports books. Market definitely likes the Pelicans. Let's talk injury reports. Nothing for the Pelicans. They are completely good to go. CJ McCollum's back. Trey Murphy's back finally. Zion's healthy. Nola is completely ready to roll. Same goes for the Sacramento Kings. Davion Mitchell was banged up last week, but he's not even on the injury report now. We've got 2 completely healthy squads in this game. I ran out of time. I wasn't able to make graphics for this one, but as far as when I'm betting, I'm on the Kings here. This Kings team has shown me that when they need to get up for a big game, they get up. In their last 5 games, they went on the road and beat the number 1 seed Timberwolves. They beat Golden State, and that's turning into a rivalry, Kings Warriors. They beat the defending champion Nuggets right after that. I mean, have they been caught flat a few times here and there? Yeah, but what NBA team has it? The point is, when this Kings team, when we've seen them in a spot where they need to get up, when they're motivated, they're going to win. And this in-season tournament, like I said earlier, they're taking it seriously. This Pelicans team, I like them a lot, and this is a team I'm comfortable betting on the road, but not against the Kings. I think the Kings are going to come out with a strong effort, with a short line like 3.5. Remember, 4 through 9, those are the key numbers in NBA. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 specifically. So 3.5 is a nice number. Give me Sacramento minus 3.5. If you want our top bets for all sports, head over to KyleKirms.com. We have top bets, parlays of the day. You can join our Discord, that's on there. So all the information's on there if you want to check it out. Let's have ourselves a great Monday. I'm coming off a great weekend. I would love that to continue. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.